Okay, guys, we're going to be doing a really quick flight tonight. As you can imagine, the time over in Eastern Asia is very different than it is in the US. So even though it's practically 11 p.m. in the United States, it's actually bright daylight over in Indonesia, and there is VATSIM coverage here in Jakarta. So we're going to just do a quick flight from Jakarta, Indonesia to Singapore. And to make it extra quick, I'm just going to jump right into turning this plane on and getting it going. Hope you guys are having a great night. This is probably the latest I'll ever do a flight. Nav and logos on. No smoking, signs auto. Alright. Okay, fuel pumps. And maybe bump up these displays just a little bit. Okay, screens are coming on. Okay, it's probably going to take a second for the APU fire testing to even be available. Brilliant. Okay. That smoke detector fault should clear on the ECAM in just a moment. Oh, please. Please clear. Okay, it did. Send some data. Gonna board and refuel.
Boarding requested. Refueling truck is on its way.
Right.
Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and as
Alright, we're gonna put in some data here. We're flying from Jakarta, which is wee, to Singapore, which was okay. Flight number CTV 4811. Cost index 5. Cruise flight level 36,000. Alright, flight plan is very simple, not overly complicated. Let me take a look at the chart. Alright, the Delta 2 Charlie off of 25 left. So that's what we're going to put in. Alright, that departure procedure is entered. I'm going to open up the cabin door.
Fuel truck is in position.
CityLink is indeed a Indonesian airline,
Please don't
a
load
low-cost Indonesian airline, so that's kind of neat.
Passengers boarding started.
Alright, the fuel guys are here. Alright, while they're doing their thing, I'm just gonna go ahead and write down the tower frequency. 118.2. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the radio on 118.2. Alright, radio's on 118.2. I'm gonna go ahead and start writing out our clearance.
Please use your airplane fuel system to set the desired fuel quantity.
Okay, config fuel, there we go. Just writing down my clearance. At stand. Let's look at what stand we're at in Indonesia. And Foxtrot 50. Oh, I can't see. Foxtrot 51. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and call for clearance really quick, especially since we've got plenty of time. So I'm going to talk to this guy. Jakarta Tower, hello, this is Super Green 4811 Airbus A320 at stand Foxtrot 51. We have information Bravo on board, QNH 1011, request IFR clearance to Singapore.
Super Green 4811, Jakarta Tower, hello, standby for rating clearance number 1.
Standby number 1, Super Green 4811.
Wagonair 804, surface wind 280 degrees, 13 knots, QNH 1011, runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
25 left, clear for takeoff, Wagonair 804.
And Super Green 4811, clearance available.
Ready to copy, sir, Super Green 4811.
Super Green 4811, cleared to Singapore, Delta 2 Delta departure, runway 25 right. Initial climb, flight level 240, standby level 360, squawk 6272.
Cleared to Singapore via the Delta 2 Delta departure. Expect runway 25 right. Initial climb, flight level 240. Expect flight level 360 10 minutes after departure. Squawk 6272 for Super Green 4811.
Super Green 4811, read back correct advisory for push and start.
Advised and ready for push and start. Thank you, Super Green 4811. Okay. Alright. Clearance is done. Haha. Okay. So fuel is almost there. I think we need about 5,900 kilograms for this. Yep. That's exactly what we need. Okay. So we're getting close to that. Come on. You can do it. Alright. That should be good. Alright, so we're going to go to flight plan. We're going to just put a couple waypoints in. There's not a lot. G-U-S-K-O. E-L-B. Guessing there's going to be multiple of those.
Wagonair 804, no further ATC, monitor advisory 162, decimate, have a good flight. Bye-bye.
Advisory for Wagonair 804, thank you, bye-bye.
Okay. Alright, and then for our arrival information, we're just going to do RNAV for 2 left. Go 2 alpha. Okay. Alright, so that flight plan's in. And go init fuel. Anjing and Ernest Timps, hey, howdy, how's it going, mate? Good to see you. Alright. Okay, I'm just gonna take a quick look at the weather here. Looks like we got -4, so just a little bit of a headwind. This is Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. That's the game. I used to do 2020 and then I upgraded lately. Okay, so got that. Performance flaps 1. Alright, just gonna calculate some stuff. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put in our QNH here that I mentioned earlier. And on top of that, and yes, I do have VATSIM coverage. I'm using vPilot to access the VATSIM network. There is actually there's somebody running tower in Jakarta in Indonesia right now, which is awesome because over there, you know, just completely different time zone, so lots of fun. Yeah, it's Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. Alright, so we're turning on our transponder. Got our initial altitude in. So now it's just a matter of waiting on luggage to finish boarding. It's gonna get there. You can do it. But I'm glad to have you on the stream. Thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying it. We're just kind of getting ready to take off from Jakarta in the next 10 minutes or so. You're from Singapore. That is amazing. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being on the stream. I appreciate that.
Tower Indonesia 789er request IFR clearance to Patimura International.
How long have you lived in Singapore?
Indonesia 789er, clear to Patimura, Charlie Alpha to Delta departure, runway 25 right. Initial climb for level 240, standby level 350, from 6207.
Repeat for squawk number.
6207.
Indonesia 789er clear to Patimura via runway 25 right, initial 240, flight level 350, squawk number 6207.
12 years. Wow, that's
Indonesia
awesome.
789er, FID, Charlie Alpha to Delta.
I've never personally been to Singapore, but I've heard that it's one of the greatest places in the world. It just looks like a beautiful city. The architecture, the people, the food.
Indonesia 789er, departure, Charlie Alpha to Delta.
Indonesia 789er, Charlie Alpha to Delta. Unable, we have Charlie Alpha 1 Delta in database.
Indonesia 789er, do you have the current navigation database?
No sir, we have old database.
Okay, you need to update your database, but okay, for now you can take Charlie Alpha 1 Delta.
Okay, copy. 7 Indonesia 789er, Charlie Alpha 1 Delta.
Indonesia 789er, read back correct advice.
So I've got to put in this new departure really quick. Delta to Delta, because we're taking off from a slightly different runway than what we thought, which is totally okay. That happens all the time. So Anjing Ernst Tips asked me, can you fly the A380 next? That's actually a great challenge. If I can figure out, I would love to do that. I would love to fly an A380. Those are huge planes and they're amazing. I'd have to do a lot of research first. I'd have to kind of research how they, especially how they land, because you know, much heavier aircraft, very, very heavy. So landing would feel it would feel a lot different. I'd have to take a look at that. But yeah, that would be fun. It'd be fun to do the A380. Okay, so we're gonna change to 25 right on my charts here. And I got to select a departure. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back in and enter these speeds again, because that's just the nature of the plane. It wants me to reiterate what I'm doing. Yeah, oh, a Singapore Airline A380. That would be especially cool, because I know one of the things I think is so cool about Singapore is that it's one of the only places in the world that still fly the A380. I know they do, and I think maybe the UAE and Dubai, possibly. Yeah, I've heard the cost of living there is really pricey. It sounds, you know, it seems like it's probably because it's such a nice city, like everybody wants to live there, from what I've heard. But yeah, I can't imagine how expensive it must be to live there. Alright, so I'm gonna tell GSX that I want to get ready for pushback, and so we're gonna, yeah, 747 would be great too. I really want to learn more about Boeing. I do a lot of Airbus flights, and so Airbus has kind of been my comfort zone, but I would love to learn how to fly Boeing planes. That would be wonderful.
Departure check completed. Bypass being inserted.
Yeah, oh, but the earnings are high. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that in California, in America. Like, the cost of living is higher, but people do make really big salaries out in California. Probably to try to offset the cost and everything. Do I play Roblox? No, I don't. I have heard a lot about Roblox, but I have never played it. It's too complicated for me. Flying planes is easier. Jakarta Tower, Super Green 4811 is ready for push.
Super Green 4811, push and start approved face north. Expect November Charlie 5.
Push and start approved face north. Expect November Charlie 5. Super Green 4811. Okay, so our tail's gonna go left. And
Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
okay, so we're pushing. We're moving. And pretty soon we're gonna be on our way up north. We're gonna be on our way north from Jakarta up to Singapore. It's about 500 miles, but that goes really fast in an Airbus. Or at least it's supposed to. So let's rock and roll. Alright, engine 2 should be ready in just a moment. They have pilot training flight simulator. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to one of those places where you can actually sit down and try sort of simulate a cockpit inside of a room. I know those are really expensive. There's some guys on YouTube that I like to follow who've done that. I can't imagine how expensive that is, but it sounds awesome. It sounds really cool.
Set parking brakes.
Alright, I'm gonna set the parking brakes.
Waiting for confirmation for good engine start.
For a good engine
We have a
start.
good engine start. You can disconnect.
So now we're just really
Unlocking
waiting
gear.
for engine 1 to finish booting up. Should be ready in just a moment. Yeah, Boeing planes are just everywhere, especially in the US. Boeing is still the standard. Definitely still the standard. Although I love Airbus aircraft, I think the cockpit is much more simple. Or the cockpit in an Airbus to me is just easier for me to understand, you know. And I know it's not that way for everybody. A lot of people disagree on that, but like I've got a good buddy he's a Boeing pilot and he loves the Boeing cockpit.
Bypass pin removed.
It just sounds complicated to me.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Okay, arm speed brakes. Okay, we're gonna go flaps 2. When we turn off lights on, taxi lights on, and then okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and call for taxi. Jakarta Tower, Super Green 4811 is ready for taxi.
Super Green 4811, taxi to holding point, runway 25 right, via November Charlie 5, November Papa 2.
Taxi to holding point for runway 25 right via November Charlie 5, Super Green 4811.
And that's November Charlie 5 and November Papa 2.
Sorry, November Charlie 5 and November Papa 2, Super Green 4811.
Correct.
Okay, so November Charlie 5, this layout here is a little bit different than what I'm used to in the US, but that's okay, I like a challenge. Okay, so November Charlie 5 is actually an entry point onto November Papa 2. Aha! Okay, now I understand. What countries have I been to? I've been to the US, that's where I'm from. I've been to Mexico. I've been to the Bahamas, and... oh, hold on. Whoa, Nelly. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure something out here. Did I turn off the view? Oh yeah, I did. I don't know. That's weird. Okay, sorry, that was random. I've been to the US, and I've been to Mexico, and I've been to the Bahamas, and I've been to the United Kingdom. And yeah, those are the countries I've been to. I really think it would be cool to go to Asia. I feel like Singapore would be very high on my list. I'd love to see Singapore, Japan, and South Korea. If I could see those 3 countries, I would be very happy. Oh wow, you've been to Melbourne, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Indonesia. Oh my goodness, all of those sound amazing. Melbourne, first of all, I've always dreamed of going to Australia. I've heard it's a wonderful country. Malaysia, I've always wanted to see the Petronas Towers in person, which is a big deal in Kuala Lumpur. And the food sounds amazing. The people sound amazing. Taiwan is just like, they just go hardcore over there. I mean, I've heard that that there's actually great hiking in Taiwan. I'm a mountain guy, so I love mountains, and so I've always loved the idea of maybe hiking up in the really tall mountains in Taiwan, and also trying the dumplings. I really would like to try the dumplings. Singapore and Malaysia, aren't they like very close? Like, isn't it really easy to sort of go back and forth between the two? I mean, do you have to, like, whenever you're crossing from Singapore into Malaysia, like, do you have to show a passport and stuff, or like do they have such a close relationship that you can pretty much just drive from one to the other and it's not a big problem? Passport, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, even with the U.S. and Canada, at all the checkpoints between the U.S. and Canada, it's amazing how much red tape people have to go through to get from one to the other and then back. But yeah, I would love to visit Malaysia. I'd love to visit Singapore too. I've also heard that Vietnam is a lot of fun. I haven't personally been, but I know people who have and they love it. Alright guys, so we're getting pretty close to lining up on the runway. You said your internet is bad.
Green 4811, wind 280 degrees, go on 3 knots, finish 1011, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, Super Green 4811. Yeah, my internet sometimes can be bad too. If it helps, sometimes with YouTube, if you want the full 4K quality, if you touch the gear button and you adjust it to 4K, the picture gets a lot better. But I know the only reason I say that is some people have commented and been like, hey, why is the picture fuzzy? And then it turns out that YouTube is defaulted to like a 480p picture when really you can watch it in 4K if you want. But yeah, I'm from the USA, born and raised. Okay, let's see. All right, we're gonna do just a couple things here. Turn on landing lights, strobe lights, taxi lights, or sorry, takeoff lights. And we're gonna do flaps 1. We're gonna move our transponders to the right. And here we go, let's do it. Toga. Singapore has the fastest internet speed. I bet they do. Honestly, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I've also heard that it's very clean. Like, if you spit gum on the sidewalk, you're in big trouble. That's what I've heard. And you know what? I agree with that. That's a good policy. If America had that policy, we would have a lot less trash on the sidewalk. That's a fact. Okay, we're airborne. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Okay. Alright, lever climb is flashing. We're going to reduce throttle to climb. And we're reaching S speed, flat 0.
For green 4811, no further ATC, monitor advisory 122.8, have a good flight. Thanks for flying.
Monitor advisory on 122.8. You have a great night as well. Thank you so much for doing this coverage, man. You are a champion. See you later. Peace. Alright, this is why I love VATSIM. You know, like, all these people are talking about doing AI, ATC. It's not the same as actually having a real person like that. These guys who volunteer for VATSIM to do ATC, they are just champions. They're just such cool guys. Many of them are doing air traffic control in multiple languages. And I cannot imagine what that must be like, and they do such a great job. So whoever's running tower in Jakarta tonight, my hat is off to you. Good job. Oh, VPN. Oh, is VPN banned in, oh, sorry. Vaping is banned in Singapore. You know what? That's a good thing too. They should have that in the US as well. Because vaping is not good for people. It gives them, I mean, honestly, I think it gives people pneumonia because they're inhaling like water vapor into their lungs, you know? So yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. So because we're going over to Unicom, I'm going to take a look at our departure procedure. If there is a chart. Okay, there's not a chart. So I think we can just go ahead and start moving up towards our cruise altitude because of the way the coverage shakes out. And that is 36,000 feet. Okay. Oh, your dream is to fly business class. Yeah, that's a good dream to have. That's a good dream to have because business class, they got a lot more leg room up there than they do in coach, let me tell you. It's been a long time since I've flown. I mean, I've only flown first class a couple times, and it was because some other people weren't able to make the flight, so I got a random upgrade with my parents, and it was great. But yeah, that's a good dream to have, business class. I love those seats, look so nice. And also, I've heard that Singapore Airlines does a really good job at making passengers feel comfortable and really making them feel welcome, which is awesome. Kudos to them. Congrats to them for that. Alright, so we're going to take a look outside the plane if I've got everything here taken care of. I think I might turn up the floodlights just in case I need them. And flaps are up, landing gear's up, lights are configured. We're going to take a look outside. You always fly economy, me too. Me too. Because it's cheaper and plane tickets are expensive as they are. They're already very expensive. And while I'm up here, I better also switch my QNH to standard because we got a low transition altitude in Southeast Asia that I always forget about, so I'm switching that over. We're just going to go back out here, take a look at beautiful scenery. Indonesia, I don't know how many islands are in Indonesia, but I know it's a lot. I think it's like over 20,000 or something like that. So during this flight, there should be a lot of really cool scenery that we're going to get a chance to see. For one thing, we're going to spend a lot of time over some of the larger Indonesian islands as well. Singapore business is expensive. Yes, that I would imagine so. Yeah, that makes sense to me. The nicer the airline gets, the tickets are just wild. Like I've never flown Emirates, but I've heard those tickets are really, really expensive as well if someone wants to fly Emirates. Frankly, United is crazy expensive here in the US. The reason I chose CityLink for this flight is, first of all, I know it's an Indonesian airline, but on top of that, the paint job for the plane, the livery is just gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, I do need to watch a video about Singapore business class because I love watching videos about airlines and air travel in general. Paid $14,000 to fly Singapore. Goodness gracious, man! I hope they like gave you caviar or something for that kind of price. I mean, if you don't mind my asking, where were you flying to? No, before takeoff, they gave everyone a hot towel. Man, they should. For that kind of price, they should give everyone a hot towel and like a gold-plated, like, I don't know, like a gold-plated certificate or something. Honestly, I feel like American Airlines are just different airlines in the US could definitely learn something from airlines like Singapore and also Emirates, because they really just, the customer experience for those airlines is amazing from what I've heard. Yeah, Changi Airport. Is that the airport that you guys have in Singapore? Is that the one with the giant waterfall inside of the airport? Yeah, see, in the US, we've got to catch up. We've got to have a waterfall in an airport. I mean, because you're absolutely right. Changi Airport, the fact that they got a waterfall, they've got these massive gardens in the center of the airport that make people feel like they're out in nature, and the amount of restaurants and just, yeah, there's nothing like it here. Nothing like it. I follow this guy. I cannot remember his name, but he likes to ride on pretty much every different airline in the world, and he gives them reviews, and he shows people what it's like to fly on each of them. And the videos he's done on Singapore are remarkable. In fact, I think he did a video where he did Singapore's longest flight, and he like got to sleep on a bed in the plane, which just sounds awesome. There's the SkyTrain in there too, man. Yeah, see, like we've got to get some of that in the U.S. because that's just cool. Yeah, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you joining the channel, and you know, you guys are all friends of mine, and I just really appreciate you, you know, being a part of this and enjoying the flight, you know. If anyone's interested, we got about an hour until landing, and about 400 miles away from Singapore at the moment. If you want to get into flight sim, my best advice is this: definitely get a copy of either Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 or Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. The 2020 version is easier to run on most PCs. 2024 is really it demands a lot of computers. Like I'm running this on with an i9 processor and a 4080 Super video card, and even then this game maxes it out. So but you know, really it's a lot of fun. It's really a blast, and you get a chance to go to so many different places in the simulator, and I highly recommend giving it a go. The Phoenix A320 is really helpful because it simulates more things in the airplane than the default aircraft in the game. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I feel like there's just a lot of research that I did when I was learning how to fly these. I don't know every single part of the pilot checklist for the airplane, but I know a lot. I know a lot about it. I don't know every single aspect of the checklist. But I had to do some digging for a lot of the stuff. But it is worthwhile and it is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. Am I going at max speed for the aircraft? Not yet. Most of the time, this model of aircraft will cruise at about Mach 7, 8. Yeah, I think Mach 7, 8. And I'm not there yet. I don't think I'm gonna get to that speed until I reach cruise altitude, which on this flight is about 36,000 feet. Good question. And for anybody out there that loves the geography side of this, I just want to let you know where we're at. We're actually flying over the island of Sumatra right now. And the landscapes of Sumatra are absolutely gorgeous. So we got, you know, you're going to get the chance to see some really cool scenery on this flight. So just letting you know, just in case you didn't know. That's a really cool fact that Singapore used to be part of Malaysia. I didn't know that. In Singapore, in Singapore and Malaysia, is Mandarin the common language between the two, or or is it English that? I mean, I'm just curious, like language-wise, what people speak in those places. Oh, English. Yeah, that there's a guy that I've seen him speak before in Singapore, and I've watched his videos before. He's like I think he's like a pastor or something. His name is Joseph Prince, and I've watched him speak, and his English is like flawless. His English is perfect. but also like he seems like he has this massive church there in Singapore, and I've seen some of his videos before. He seems like a neat guy. Oh, Lee Kuan Yew. Yeah, see, there's a lot about religion in Southeast Asia that I don't fully understand, you know. There's just, I mean, you know, I know there's like there's Buddhist influence in Southeast Asia, and there's also like Christian influence and Muslim influence, and there's like so many different like there's just so many things that sort of like come into contact with each other in that part of the world. You know, I mean, like personally, I'm a Christian, and I like to listen to pastors from all over the world, you know, and it's really interesting to me to listen to guys from, you know, from all over, and it's just fascinating, you know. Was Lee Kuan Yew, was he the guy who founded Singapore? Was he the guy who basically was the sort of like the man who started everything there? Yeah, I can imagine that a lot of people in Singapore really admire what he did, because like here in the U.S., you know, we have that with George Washington. You know, we talk a lot about Washington and what he did for to found our country. And one of the things that I really admire about Singapore is that they have a great judicial system. They have a democracy where the people get a voice. It's so important to have that. Singapore is a beacon of democracy and freedom in Southeast Asia, and it's a huge testament to the leadership of the people there, and also just the commitment of the community to do what it takes to take care of their citizens. So yeah, I really admire Singapore. Wow, he lived to be 91. That is amazing. American presidents don't tend to make it that far. One thing that I think Singapore gets right and Japan gets right that the U.S. sometimes struggles with is in Asia, in East Asia, there seems to be this emphasis on taking care of elders and giving giving them help and assistance and listening to them. And I think the U.S. could learn something from that, because we need to take care of our elders in the U.S. and not send them off someplace. I think I really admire the people of Singapore and Japan for taking care of their elders. I think that's why their life expectancy is longer than it is in the U.S. Well, as you can see, the weather over here in Sumatra is a little bit rainy, but we're still getting some good views of some of the mountains and some of the jungle down there. Wow, we're getting some lightning up here. That's unexpected. I'm digging it. Whoa, there's some big lightning strikes there. Alright, we're only about 250 miles, or 270 miles away from Singapore, which in Airbus terms is only about 30 minutes. Just giving you guys an update. Anjing was asking, am I descending soon? Yes. Yes, I am. We should be descending in about 20 minutes. And as we descend, we're going to get some nice views of northern Sumatra and maybe the skyline of Singapore before we land, which will be nice. This will be my last stream tonight, and I will do another stream on Monday morning. And I tend to do my streams two of them a week, one on Monday mornings and then one on Thursday nights. And that's US Central Time, so I know it's completely different in Singapore, but I tend to do 2 of these a week. One thing that I would also recommend is if you're not able to see it live, it's no problem at all, because as soon as my live streams are done, they are posted to the channel. So if you go to the live section on my channel, you can watch the flights from start to finish, even if you weren't able to see them live. So that might help out a little bit since we're in very different time zones. Yeah, I'm in Kansas. I like Kansas. It's a cool place. It's nice. It's flat, but it's nice. Really cool people. Awesome people. Yes, howdy. People do say howdy here. That is true. It is a thing. Alright, we're gonna be descending in just a bit here. I'm gonna take a look at our chart to figure out where top of descent would be on our radar. So I'm gonna broaden our range here a little bit. Looks like we're gonna reach top of descent at Party. So once we get to the Party, we're gonna very slowly start bringing this plane down a little bit. In the meantime, let's just go out and check out some more of the, I was gonna say scenery, but because there's storms over Sumatra, it's pretty cloudy. guys, as of right now, we have begun our descent into Singapore. The question, can you fly Singapore A380 to Melbourne? That would be wonderful. I think it would be easier for me to fly the A380 than to fly the 747, just because I'm so used to Airbus controls. But that would be a lot of fun. That would be really cool to fly an A380 to Melbourne. I will definitely think about that, and maybe sometime in the future I can do that. A380s, those are big planes, really big planes. So landing with those, taking off with them, it's quite a process. But I am familiar with the cockpit because there's a lot of similarities to a lot of the other Airbus models. That would be that'd be a fun flight. It'd be a really fun flight. A lot of great scenery along the way too. Yeah, Perth would also be a great destination since it's on the western coast of Australia. That would be a really cool idea too. I'll definitely think about doing an A380 flight soon, and if I do an A380 flight, it'll definitely be on Singapore Airlines. But hey, if you gotta go soon, that's totally all right. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I just appreciate you joining me on the flight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very kind. When are you doing a live? Probably next Monday morning. I'll be back, and I'll probably be doing a flight somewhere over Europe. I'm not sure where, but somewhere over Europe. Alright guys, we're going to enter the next phase of our descent here into Singapore. Take a look at the chart. Alright, we're going to get down to about 7,000 feet. And we're going to sort of slow the rate of descent a little bit. close. We're on the final approach for Singapore, guys. And the weather is stormy, to say the least. And just look at these clouds. Flaps 1 right now. Go ahead and turn on some lights here. Alright guys, it's that time. Turn off autopilot. We're going to fly this puppy down manually, which is the only way to fly it. Or it's the only fun way to fly it, I guess. And take the controls and just very gently take her to the right. Flaps 2. We're having to totally rely on our instruments here because of just the way this is all shaking up. Cloud covers everywhere. Flaps 3. And make sure spoilers are armed. Yep. Okay.
2,500.
And flaps full. Beautiful. Singapore traffic, Super Green 4811 is about to land on runway 02 left, 6 nautical miles out. Alright, we're going to get a little bit of altitude back. Is changing ever so slightly. guys, we're about to land at the consistently ranked #1 airport in the world in terms of quality. I mean, they've got a waterfall in the airport, for crying out loud. Some of that altitude back. Wind is changing. Wind is definitely changing here. A little low.
Retard. Retard. 7, 5.
Alright. Go. Changi traffic, Super Green 4811 is clear of runway 02 left. Changi traffic. Okay. Now our goal is just to find a gate. And we're just gonna take this gate right over here. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this flight. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel.